This is what I learned taking UST LeapMed. Hey guys, if you're new to the channel, my name is John ARLO Sanchez, and I took the UST LeapMed entrance exam a month ago, a few weeks ago, who knows? But in this video, I'll be sharing you the top 10 things I learned by taking this entrance exam. And if you are an aspiring UST LeapMed taker, then this video is for you. And if you're also a student and you're preparing for a competition or an exam, this video is also applicable. So let's get started. First was consistency is key. You see, I started training for this exam 7 months ago when I first bought the reviewer online, link in the description, or you could watch this video where I showed how I bought my reviewers, how I prepared for it, and I go into detail on how I studied and was able to pass the LeapMed entrance exam. So more on that, just click the I and you'll see the whole playlist. So consistency is key. I use this software called Anki, and it's this flashcard review software where it incorporates active recall and spaced repetition, and it forces you to memorize better. The only problem is you have to review every day, because if you don't, it will stack up and you'll have more to do the next day. So if I wanted to keep myself sane, I had to do it every day. And that may seem daunting, doing the same thing every day for 7 months. Well, did I miss out on days? Yes, I did. But I was able to bounce back. So the key here was the problem is just starting. And the main thing that I focused on was making sure I did Anki at a specific time every day. So the first thing I did when I woke up, I did Anki, or after my breakfast. The thing that I made sure was that it is one of the most important things of my day. So that's how I made it consistent. The second lesson I learned was I figured out how to apply the things I learned in my daily life. So a lot of the things I learned in the reviewers, there were a lot of practical things. They taught me about anatomy and physiology, taught me about botany, zoology, all of that incredibly fascinating science subjects. And at first glance, I would think, oh, what am I going to use this for? Besides, as a career as a doctor. And I knew that myself that if I can't really apply it, I would lose interest in it. So I figured out and took the matters in my own hands. So when I learned about how the blood vessel dilates or constricts, I went outside, I went out into hot weather, and I tried to see if the blood vessels would be easier to see or less easier to see. I went and checked if my hair would stand on end if I were in a cold area or hot area. And while all these things sound very basic, it just adds a lot of excitement because you get to see what you're learning in real life. And I don't know about you, but to me, that is important. So if you're a firm believer of you like seeing what you do and what you learn, then try applying it in your daily life. Try getting a way to see it with your own eyes. The third lesson was reverse engineering my goals. So I'm not really a good binge studier. I tend to study very short periods in my day. So when I had a whole syllabus to study, which was around 6 different subjects, more on that info, if you click the I and click the playlist there, you can see more about what subjects you're going to be tested for UST LeapMed. You should really check that out. It was hard for me to grasp all of these knowledge and stuck it in my brain in a quick amount of set of time. So what I did was I reverse engineered my goals. So if I said, okay, I have 6 months until the entrance exam, and I have 6 subjects, right? So I have 1 month per subject. And in 1 month, I have 4 weeks. And if there are 4 modules, 1 module per week. Input it into my Anki cards, review it every day. Now, instead of thinking, oh, I have a whole curriculum to study today, the only thing I have to think about is, oh, I just need to put some modules into my Anki cards today. Oh, I just need to review my Anki reviews. It was the same thing every day in and day out, but it was more digestible. Imagine you had to eat a whole snake before breakfast. Compare that to, eating a bit of it every other day. Which one is more digestible? Of course, none, because it's hard to digest a snake. Anyway, the fourth lesson I learned was scoping the subject. So related to reverse engineering the curriculum, one important thing was scoping the subject, which essentially means finding the connections. So from the biggest subject, so example botany, and how you're going to see how it connects with the different subchapters. So like say for example, um, flowering plants, and then study about hormones, and then study about classification. You're trying to narrow it down and connect it from the smallest niche to the largest subject. And the reason why you're doing that is you get to appreciate how everything lines up and how everything falls into place. And in a way, knowledge is about connection. And when you're connecting the different fields, you're understanding how they act and how they correlate with each other. So that's the fourth tip, scope the subject. The fifth tip I learned was I won't always be correct. And I don't know about you, but if you've tried Anki reviews and when you get a wrong answer, it doesn't feel good. You feel sad because, oh, I guessed it wrong. I knew it a week ago, but now I got it wrong. Well, I'm just here to reassure you that's perfectly normal. We are not computers. Our brain is a muscle. We don't always remember what we want to remember. What matters is you trying to remember it again, trying to continue on your Anki streak, trying to review again. That's what matters. So you may not always be correct, but you'll be wrong. Okay. You may not always be correct, but you will definitely forget it if you stop reviewing. If you continue reviewing, there's the small chance, no, not even small, a bigger chance that you'll remember the next time. So instead of giving up, just accept the fact that you were wrong and uh, forget about the ego, which is what I would tell myself back in the day whenever I get the flashcard wrong. So that was the fifth tip. I won't always be correct. The sixth lesson was sharing and teaching, it leads to more understanding. And this is supported by the Feynman technique, which means that if you can teach it to a 5-year-old, that means you understand it. If you can't teach it and you can't explain it in simple words, you don't understand it at all. Sure, maybe you heard it once, but maybe you thought yourself, oh, I understand it. I know how this rule goes. But then when you try to explain it, the words don't come out. Which is why what I did was I taught people, especially the ones who were preparing for LeapMed as well. I taught them, I explained the concepts that I learned, and in a way, it's helping myself. It's testing me if I understood it, and it's helping someone else learn it. So it's a win-win for everyone. So I don't see any downfall from teaching others people. So if you're studying for an exam and you're preparing for a competition, always remember to, have group calls, group study sessions with your friends, or even not your friends. As long as you have the opportunity to teach, and you'll be able to understand it. A good example would be taking turns. So you will teach a topic that you're not good at. For example, trigonometry. Okay, yeah, I'm not good at trigonometry. So I would go up to my friend and I would ask, hey, can I practice, teaching you trigonometry? If I get it wrong, can you fill in the holes? Okay, so let's say I get this theorem wrong. My friend would point out, oh, no, it's supposed to be like that, it's like that. Okay, then I would repeat. Okay, so I'm supposed to do this and this. That's how the most effective way of learning, because you're immediately getting feedback and you're understanding it on a deeper level. You're able to put it into words and you can take turns. It's perfect. So the seventh lesson is, I can't read my notes. Yes, the seventh lesson is there will come a time where studying and reviewing will be part of your life that you don't even notice any changes anymore. It takes 7 days. No, it takes 21 days to set up a habit. It takes 90 days to fulfill a lifestyle. And I for sure have been doing Anchor reviews for more than 90 days straight, to the point that when I wake up, it doesn't even feel foreign to me anymore. It's just something part of my life now. It's just part of my life. Just like how brushing your teeth, it's part of your life. You don't think about how foreign it is. So the same goes for anything, any habit that you're trying to pursue, any goal that you want. If you're willing to do the work regularly, it'll be part of your life. And the reason why I'm sharing that is usually when it starts, let's say you start a new workout routine. Of course, it's hard. Of course, it's painful and you're demotivated to continue. But later on, after, at least 90 days, or okay, let's say a week of working out regularly, you won't even feel, okay, you would feel the pain, but you would be more excited. You would feel like it's part of your life now, right? So the same goes with studying, and the same how that's how it went for my preparing for the UST LeapMed. So if you're studying and preparing for the entrance exam, and you worry that you have to study a lot regularly and that you don't have the motivation, the fact of the matter is it will be part of your life anyway, and you wouldn't be, daunted by it anymore. The eighth lesson is learning about the body and science in general is very fascinating. So I had the privilege to learn about anatomy and physiology, and by far while I'm, not thinking about all these things, I'm really grateful that I got to learn how each different body part works, because it allowed me to appreciate just how complex and amazing God's creation is, to the point that I want to be able to improve people's lives, especially their bodies, and improve their health. And at first I thought that, being a doctor is easy. What are you thinking, man? Being a doctor is not easy. What I mean was, oh, they're just doing things. They don't need to know about how the body works. And that's just how stupid I thought. Because in order to apply help and to fix other people's body parts, you should have a thorough understanding and a thorough appreciation of how these body parts work. So now that I have a news perspective, it's really ingrained into my mind just how amazing the body is, and just how flawed my thinking was, and that I need to be able to learn as much as I can before applying it. So when you're studying for the UST LeapMed entrance exam, or any, let's say, the MCAT or the NMAT, or any medicine or health related entrance exam, you're going to have that new perspective. And I'm really looking forward to enjoying and being fascinated by just how amazing the body is. The ninth lesson was uh, how to memorize more and better. First is use mnemonics. What are mnemonics again? I think, okay, fine. I'll just Google whatever mnemonics are. Use mnemonics, use stories, and use acronyms. So, and words that sound alike. Okay, let's start with words that sound alike. For something very basic, you could teach like a grade 1, grade 2 student about photosynthesis. Just remember photosister, because you're trying to help them remember how to spell it, right? So photosister. The brain more strongly associates pictures than it associates words. So when you say photo sister, you're thinking about photographing your sister, right? So a kid will be able to remember photosynthesis better. So that's just one way. Another way would be using the start of each letter for, and then make like a sequence. I think this is mnemonic, I'm not sure, or acronym. So to memorize the different layers of the skin, there's corneum, stratum, corneum, corneum, stratum corneum, stratum corneum, stratum lucidum, stratum granulosum, stratum spinosum, and stratum basal. So in order to do that, you need to get the first letter. So C, L, G, S, B. Wow, I'm trying so hard to memorize. Okay, C, L, S, B. So you can change it to come, let's go see babe. That's way easier to memorize than all those other things that I mentioned. But when you associate come, let's go see babe, you more easily remember corneum I cannot even corneum lucidum, whatever. We're not talking about that anymore. So yes, form associations with your mind with pictures and with alliteration. Is it alliteration? Yeah, just the start of the letter. I'm losing my mind here. The 10th and the final lesson was to be grateful and focus on what I can control. There were a lot of times where I was very upset. I quit actually. I quit a lot of streaks for Anki. I thought, I'm not gonna go for the LeapMed anymore. What's the point? I also thought, why am I preparing so hard for questions that won't even come up? And it made me realize that I'm not seeing it in a positive light. I'm always thinking negatively, and that's not good. I'm given the privilege to learn amazing things about the body and amazing things about science. And the thoughts in my head were, this is not worth my time. It made me realize that there are people out there who want to learn about the body, but they can't. They don't have the resources, the money, the laptop that I have. So for me to think such lazily and negatively, it just means to disrespect them. And the words that I go live by is, being lazy is disrespectful to the people who believe in you and the people who don't have the resources you have. So I admit, I quit and I stopped, but in the end, I continued and I continued studying Anki. I finished studying the entire curriculum in the reviewer, and I was grateful. Why? Because not just from the things I learned, but the processes and the experiences that I had. I wouldn't have learned these epiphanies about being respectful to the people out there by working hard. It was through the experience of upsetting myself and disappointing myself where I learned that I should be grateful for what I have. So all in all, I also realized that I should focus on what I could control. I'm very results oriented, so I realized that I'm very obsessed with what score I'll get. But after having Anki for 7 months, every day, almost every day, I realized that the results aren't that important. They're just the byproduct. I realized that after getting many incorrect answers on Anki, it doesn't really matter because I would get them correct again. And that how cliche it sounds, but the failure is part of the process. The failure will get me to my goal later on in the future. And that, I can't really control the results. When I submitted my entrance exam, I wasn't that scared. Why? Because I knew I couldn't control whatever happened after that. The moment I pressed enter and whatever number that flashed on my screen, I just took it with grace because I can't do anything about it. I already spent a lot of time preparing for it, and I'm grateful for it either way. So this kind of mindset shift really sums up all the 10 different lessons that I had. And I hope that you really enjoyed this video, and I really appreciate if you can make a summary down in the comments below for the people who aren't willing to watch the entire video like I am. Anyway, if you want to end this video, I really hope you enjoyed, and you can watch this video to know more about how to prepare for LeapMed and this video on how to prepare for the LeapMed interview. Good luck to all of you, and I hope you smash your goals.